worldwide transmission. It officially comes out tomorrow. You can order the DVD for Fabled Enemies, the new film I produced. Jason Berman's directed, getting into the intelligence agencies, how they orchestrated the attacks of 9/11, private defense contractors, foreign intelligence agencies with elements of the Pentagon and the CIA. Fabled Enemies, 2-hour film, an hour and a half of extras, and it is going to be available on the web in T-minus 20. I guess about 27 minutes from now it'll go live at prisonplanet.tv. If you're not a member, go there. It takes about a minute to sign up, $5.95 a month, or get a year membership and get 3 months free, prisonplanet.tv, prisonplanet.tv, or order the DVD at Infowars.com. We have discounts on the film and other films I've made out of the gates. You can also call toll-free to get a copy of Fabled Enemies or Truth Rising or Endgame Terror Storm. And that's 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. Well, he was the head of policy, Department of Treasury, the father of Reaganomics. He helped broker some of the economic deals that took Russia from being the Iron Curtain to a somewhat of a freer society there with its collapse in 1991. He, of course, was an editor there at the Wall Street Journal. He's a syndicated columnist with Creator Syndicate. And he is a frequent contributor to this radio show, and we're always very thankful for Dr. Paul Craig Roberts joining us, and he'll be with us for the balance of the show. And I know we have a lot of callers. Specifically, if you have a question or comment on Russia, on the economy, on Iran, we will take a few of your calls right at the end. Didn't take a lot of calls today because I've been focused on purely news and information. But he's also, again, a top economist, so we're happy to get his perspective, and very thankful for his perspective on the economy as well. Thanks for joining us on the eve of Labor Day, sir.
You're welcome, Alex.
Dr. Roberts, let's get into Russia and the escalation there first, and then let's break down some of the things we're seeing with the economy.
All right.
There have been a lot of new developments, talk of sanctions, more troops and weapons being brought in, Russia calling it an act of war. We have top Russian generals saying last week the U.S. may stage terror attacks or provocateur false flags. We have Russia saying they're doing this for the election. A lot of amazing things happening right now. Can you break it down for us?
Yes, I think so. The neoconservatives who control the Republican Party and the current administration and any future ones, they may also control the Democrats. That remains to be seen. They're determined to have a war with Russia. They're still angry that Reagan worked out diplomatic agreements with Gorbachev and the Soviet Union and ended the Cold War without a fight. They're spoiling for a fight. They have broken all of the agreements that Reagan made with Gorbachev. They've taken NATO to Russia's borders. They're putting U.S. ballistic missile defenses in former Russian satellites in order to degrade the Russian nuclear deterrent, as they're hoping to be able to bully Russia and force them to go along with whatever we want in the world. And the Russians simply are not going to do that. They have upgraded their nuclear forces. They lack the kinds of smart weapons and electronic warfare that the United States has, and so they've announced that they will compensate for that with tactical nuclear weapons, that if the Americans encounter them with smart weapons or electronic warfare, that they will respond with tactical nukes in order to wipe out the American forces. So we're moving very rapidly toward nuclear war, and this seems to be something joyful to the Republicans and joyful to the neoconservatives and to the brown shirt Republicans. It's very odd that the Republican or the conservative movement ended up producing a bunch of brown shirts who think they can impose by military force their will on the world. So we are headed to war. Now I see just the other day the general director of the Russian Center for Iranian Studies. His name is Safarov. He has now said that all Russia needs to do is to form an alliance with Iran, because then Russia will control the Persian Gulf. And so
prodding Russia is actually causing them to start expanding.
Well, that's right. It's you see, the thing is that Russia was cooperating with us in every respect, and they were cooperating with Europe in every respect. And Europe, of course, is heavily dependent on Russia for energy. So to go in there and threaten Russia for no reason, it's madness. And I think if McCain is elected, there'll be nuclear war before his first term is over.
Dr. Roberts, I've never heard you talk like this. I mean, I know you go off of...
Well, you have to understand that, I held the highest security clearances for a quarter of a century. I know all the people, and they're very concerned about this.
So you're talking to a lot of former and current or analysts and people, and I know we're interviewing some of them here on air, and they're saying pretty much the same thing you're saying.
Yes, they're very worried that for reasons they don't really understand, the United States is provoking the entire world, not just Iraq and Afghanistan, but they're now after Russia. And we saw that recently with the trouble in Georgia. This was a former constituent part of Russia for 200 years. And we went in there with the Israelis. We rigged an election. We elected a puppet. We armed the army and trained it. And we tried to put them into NATO. Now, we're talking about something in the Caucasus. It's so far removed from the North Atlantic. I mean, it's halfway around the world from the North Atlantic.
It's on the border of Central Asia.
That's right. It's in Central Asia. And our European allies said, no, we're not going to do that, because they've got all these separatist movements there that want to go back to Russia. They don't want to be part of Georgia. They used to be part of Russia, and Stalin sort of rearranged the borders, and because Stalin was from Georgia. And if we go and make them part of NATO, NATO will be involved in civil conflict inside Georgia. So the French and Germans and Italians nixed it. So the reason for all the trouble there was we sent our puppet in to murder all the Russians and drive them out of the separatist provinces so that we would end the succession movements and Georgia would be, quote, unified, and we could put them in NATO.
So you believe this was a miscalculation then, because that didn't happen?
Yeah, it was a miscalculation out of the hubris that rules in Washington.
Let me ask you, why do you think we, not just as an economist and former head of the Treasury and the rest of it, but, also, as a newsman, the former editor at the Wall Street Journal, studying people and knowing a lot of these neocons, but not just them, not just their imperial hubris, their mindset of we control reality, we are history's actors, none of you count, delusional megalomania, but also the public. Because I get emails every day, I get calls, people think we're lying. They really think Russia snuck attacked Georgia. And I think it's hubris mixed with the fact that they know the average American literally has no idea even what planet they're on. And so, Dr. Roberts, I want to come back and get your take on that and where you think this is going and ideas you've got, or the people you're talking to, the ideas they have in the establishment to reverse this. Dr. Paul Craig Roberts is our guest. You just Google Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. You can read literally hundreds of great editorials he has written. He'll be our guest in the final segment. We'll even jam in a few phone calls if we have time as well. Stay with us. Infowars.com.